mistakes. You know you try and you try really hard, but sometimes you fall. Yeah, sometimes you fall. Sometimes you fall. Precious cargo, be careful with my heart, oh. Say I'm not sensitive, but I can sense if it's right for me. Don't let your head get in the way. Can't be defined by your mistakes. You know you try and you try really hard, but sometimes you fall. Yeah, sometimes you fall.
Real life. I did not choose that song ahead of time. Time was running down, and I just kind of tapped on it. Sometimes you fall. Fellas, it doesn't mean, or wasn't any joke going on with erectile dysfunction, but this is a perfect song for that. Perfect. Sometimes you fall. Maybe they should reach out to the company that makes Viagra. Let me get a sound check, everybody. Let me make sure the sound is good. Sound check, sound check. Let me know in the chat room you can hear me. Sound check, sound check. Well, if you can't hear me, you'll be able to answer me, right? So let me go into the comments here and see, you know, yappa, yes, everything is good. Introverted empath. Long time. How's everybody doing tonight? Master Glam in the house. Okay, you can hear me fine. Yes, I don't really know exactly what I'm going to say, but I know what I feel. I wanted to touch on several different aspects. What am I doing here? The meal was good. That's what it was. Aspects of getting older. I want to run this as a regular kind of series. Not always, but, you know, consistently. And let me see who is this here. Rand Tom, C. Veller. The chat kind of, I'm a little different. I arranged the camera a little different so I have more space. I cleared my table here. So I'm very relaxed right now. So this is impromptu. And that's the best way. You know, when you run into people in the street that you haven't seen in a long time and you have the conversation with them, it's not planned. It's like, well, it's 4:30 when I come out of the supermarket. I'm going to run into so-and-so and so-and-so. And this is what I'm going to talk about. This is one of those days for me, right? Oh, God, I had to change this title a couple of times because I wanted to be for everybody. To set up on a frustrating level. So all I did was, what was the title going to be? A limp noodle is not the end of the world. But people think it would be a comedy show or something. So I said, nah, let me not do it that way. So I just put getting older ain't easy. And I'll make a little series of getting older. Since I'm getting older, and I'm getting older personally, and I don't seem to have the same mindset that many people have, and I know that they're getting older. You know, not necessarily anyone in particular, but several people that I know and things that I overhear. And I don't see the reason why I should be like that. Because you'd be happy to get to a certain point in life, to have made it there. You know, many people who are older look back to the younger years, and there's still so much to be done in these years. I'm about to cross over 60 next month, and I'm looking forward to the best days of my life. Seriously, I am not going to compete with the version of LanceScurv from 20 years old, 18 years old, 22 years old. That version gave me a lot of wisdom from the things that I did, good and bad, which the bad wasn't really bad. It was just a few misjudgments. It gave me things to talk about at this particular point in my life. It gave me things to look back on to say or pass on to somebody else and say, hey, you know what? You know, don't do this or don't do that. I'm suggesting this. I'm not going to preach to you, right? I got 1, 2, 3, 4 lights on me, so I will be sweating a whole lot. This is African heat over here, a little different. Still cold in certain parts of the world listening to this broadcast. But let's start out with the men. And I'm going to jump around. I just want to get this one first to start out. It's like the first round of a boxing match. You're feeling out. You want to feel out the opponent to get to know what it is they have to offer. So a lot of men are so depressed because their penises are not getting hard like it used to back when they were 19 years old. So you mean to tell me that all that you have accrued as far as wisdom, knowledge, and being a conversationalist, and maybe material goods that keep you living comfortable, which that's not the most important thing in the world, but it does help. So you mean to tell me that because your ding dong doesn't get hard, because you can't keep up with the 20-year-old version of yourself, you're going to feel down about that? Let me tell you something. Society has put so much weight on our sexual prowess that when we can't measure up to the old version of ourselves, we feel bad. Matter of fact, a book by Lila Africa. I'm thinking about the boxer, right? I was just looking at the boxer. Lila Africa, God rest his soul. He said in one of his books that men should not be having sex. How many times? How many times you think? Once a week? Every night? Once a month? He said that it should be no more, you're going to love this one, than once a year. Imagine that. I was fascinated because it was like I was at a certain age where I couldn't go past every few hours. I had to do something, right? But when looking back on what he said, it rang true to a degree, because he said when you ejaculate as a man, there is so much that is lost and given out of you. Where the minerals, the vitamins, not even just that, but the life force. This thing is powerful. And although we like the feeling of orgasm, it shouldn't be something that's taken for granted. And when you hold back and when you save yourself, I don't know about that once a year thing, right? But it does make sense. He says your children will come out stronger. There's more of you in your essence in that ejaculation, which hits the egg. So I'm like, this guy got a point here. He says there'll be no doubt that they're scholars and be mighty in what the journey is. He says, when you ejaculate frequently, you cheat your child. There's something that's missing. There's something that's watered down. It's like, wow, but who can do that in this society that's pushed so hard where everything is about sex? The pressure is on the women and the pressure is on the men. Sex, sex, sex. You got to be sexy. If the wind blows, your thing goes up hard, and then what? And we bought into this. I won't just say that we bought into it, but we've been sauteed and simmered in it. We've been just dunked in there. Just we'll think this way. Even when we act like we don't, we think this way. And so you have men who, because if a woman, all she had to do is spit on it, pat it, come on, let's go. Pretty much. But men, they have to defy gravity. They have to, in the back of their mind, they look at porn and see people going on for hours and hours. It don't work that way. Remember what we did when we were younger? It don't work that way. You're not younger anymore. My thing is, right? We put too much weight on that, and we should accept you're not going to win that battle. You can function to you. People who function to their 80s and 92, just having children, we understand that. But that's not you. That's not your, maybe their history was different. Maybe they took care of themselves a little different. We shouldn't put so much of our weight as men on how hard our penis gets. Because if that's all you're thinking about or we're thinking about, you're not going to enjoy your older years. What about the wisdom that you have? What about the conversations that are chock full of wisdom, good conversations? People say, come on, Scurv, you know better than that. But no, I do know better than that, because life would be so dry if that's all you thought about. That's who you are. See, what you have to do, in my opinion, take the weight off that. Sure, you're younger, a little more aroused, and you're going after things, you see the world a lot different. When you pull back and really look at life, what about your dick hard being how much you know? Your dick hard being how kind you are to people. Your dick hard being how nice you treat your children and set them up for the rest of their life. Those things. Ain't nobody worried about, I'm not going to say nothing about no Bill Gates like he's a nice guy. We know he's not. He has so much money. Donald Trump, these guys. Do women see that when they see him? No. You know what they see? They see money and power. But so many of us in the Black community are so displaced in our thinking that we think that that is the ultimate power. Yeah, you can bring life into the world, but what kind of life are you going to bring into the world? What kind of life are they going to have when you bring them into the world if all you was thinking about is getting your dick hard and getting up in some woman between her legs? What about the ability to provide, to take care of them, to teach them, to raise them, to rear them? See, that's the part we don't want to think about. And I said getting older ain't easy. Yeah, I talked about that. But I'm speaking about, again, how society puts so much weight on us when we think that that's all it is. Too many young brothers around here. Yeah, man, I tore that up last night. But you got lint in your pocket. You had to turn around and ask her for cab fare to go home. What kind of man is that? There was a man bum living around here in my neighborhood who was just I gotta say it, an entitled bum. We don't call out, and this is going off on a different subject, and we'll come back to the getting older ain't easy. But then again, I can swing it around that way also. This guy, and I ran into another neighbor who we ended up speaking about because we knew what it was. We wanted to talk about it, but the chance never happened. And this guy, he's an entitled bum. And I remember seeing him with all different types of women that he was using. But when he gets older, is he going to continue to do this? His parts might work excellently, but where is it getting him, right? Does it really mean that you touched a woman properly? Because you can have sex with a woman and then see her in the street 5 years later and nothing to it, right? I'd rather not have sex with a woman and have her love me completely because of this and because of what's in my heart. You see what I mean? Then you can have a conversation. If you have those things first, and maybe you did do something on a physical level, it was okay, and that's what it was. If you have the other connection, better, that lasts a lifetime. But too many of us as men we're not ready to get older because we didn't set up for that. We're too busy chasing tail and not building up our resources on all levels so we can sit back and enjoy it and accept the fact that we might not be able to lift as much weight as we used to. I was a physical specimen back in the day. I ain't got to even say it. I forget about that. There's so much more to me than that. That was a brief thing, just like this life is brief, but it can be longer if you do the right thing in each phase. If I'm driving down the highway 80 miles an hour and there's an exit that ends up being a turn under the highway, am I still going to drive 80 miles an hour? No, I'm going to fly off the track. I got to slow down. I got to slow down. Maybe it's 25 miles an hour, 20 miles an hour, depending on what's posted on the side. We get to be, and I forget how old I am, or how young I am, or how advanced I am. I don't even care about the words. I'm here. I maintain the same energy. I'm still LanceScurv. I've been here a little longer than I was around yesterday, and I accept it. And I look at each passing day as an opportunity to do something new, to learn something new, to create something new, or even to rest, which I've been doing a lot of. Lance, you're not doing 4 or 5 things a day? Yeah, when I want to. But things that hit me like, wait a second. I done did 22 years in this game. I don't need to kill myself. I'm going to do it and flow with it as it comes, because we're going into different phases of our life. If you went to the Lily Vegan page, which I'd say go there and subscribe. The last video that we put up was one of the yard and one of the house, right? And that shows what we've been working on all the time while I'm here doing these shows. There's more to life than meets the eye. That's what makes getting older easier. If I'm involved in things in the present every single day of life, I have no time to sit back and compare today where I may have an ache and pain in my knee. And those knees were stronger years ago. I'm not saying me, I'm still strong, I'm still strong, but I'm speaking on those who may, because it's going to happen to me also physically in some way. We're made to go on and perish to another level. We not perish, but the physical perishes goes back to the earth, but our essence, it transitions into something else. So I'm so hung up on the prior decades that I can't see the beauty of right now. There's something wrong with me, because each phase, look, I might have been young and strong and broke. Now, while I'm not a rich man now, I can always go to the ATM or have my little stash and get something I may want on a lower level, right? And I still ain't rich or whatever, but in a sense, I am, because I can see where my blip is on our screen. Many of us can't. Many of us, and I spoke about that yesterday, about the different age gaps and how some men are, how they don't see themselves as they are. That's not the phase for that, man. That's like me getting ready to go to high school, but I want to go hang out in second grade. That don't work. You gotta move on. And there are many women also who can't see themselves graduating to a higher level. Doesn't mean you can't be sexy. It doesn't mean that you can't maintain your life force. I'm not saying to go down and sound somewhere with a cane and just give up on life. No, these years you should be free from past insecurities. But too many of us bring those insecurities into the present day, and now we're trapped because there's no way we're going to compete with the self or who we were 30 and 40 years ago. It depends. Maybe on a cerebral level, they say the best CEOs are the CEOs who are in their 80s and beyond. How can you take a CEO who's in his late 20s and early 30s? He's young, but he doesn't have the long timeline to know things can go up, things can drop down, things can go up, things can drop down. And that sense that comes with time, it gives you patience. See? When we were younger, we wanted to get older so fast and not realize at times we had it like that. We lived with our folks. We didn't have to worry about mortgage or rent or a car note. We just saw these things and thought that when we get older, it comes to us. And many of us who wanted that so bad, in time, we got that older age and the things that come with it. We got into our 20s. Now we can buy the car, but now we know we got to pay the note. Isn't that something, right? We get the house, we got to pay the mortgage. So now we're not even home anymore unless we work at home. We got to go out there to get money with people we don't even look like and look like, who we might not even like too much. And it brings us tension just to keep that house. You see, so it's a trade-off. So if you will live long enough to be able to get to this point, I'm not envying nobody. I'm not envying the things they have to do in this day and age. I'm glad that I got to the point where I am. Sure, if we did this and if we did that, and if I changed things, I don't play the if game. I'm here right now. I'm not diluting my life force by thinking about what happened in 1975 and what happened. I know what happened in my life in those years, and I can't change them. And I think that many of us who go over and over and over and over with these different points in our life, yes, we refer back to it so that we won't repeat the same mistake again. There are good times that you can think back on. Sure, you can think back on good times. But it doesn't mean that you're going to stay there, because if you stay there, what are you doing now? If all I did was sit here, I remember back in 1982, man, I was looking so good. Man, I had all the girlfriends. Man, what are you doing for me now? Right? So we got to move on, but we do it to ourselves. And there are a lot of people who are old who are not chronologically old. We have a lot of old people who are 25. They're old, not because, look, how much life do they have to think back on? But they've adopted those ways of thinking. And it ain't easy because we make it not easy. I'm enjoying myself. Me and Mr. Scurv took a little walk earlier. We were going to do a walk and talk. We ran into our neighbor who used to live across the home. We talked and she took us for a drive on her property she's building. We had a wonderful conversation. And, you know, there'll be no walk and talk that I created for today, right? But it's all good. You go with the flow and you make the best of what you have. But also we have, and this goes for men also, we have women, older women, who, we started this conversation yesterday, so I'm not just picking on the ladies, I gotta be fair. We have a lot of older women who don't realize that they're older. I'm not saying you're old, but those games that you play, it looks damn stupid on you. Have a little dignity. You can be sexy, you can be charming, you can be alluring, you can show a little more leg than usual. Doesn't mean you have to be all choked up to your neck and all the way down to your ankle. But don't play the young girls game. You're not going to win. You are not that. And so many don't see it. They look in the mirror and I don't know what they see. When they come out in the street, you can tell that that's their game and something's off, really off. And again, I'm not saying what you do behind closed doors that you can't do it. If you have somebody and you have that urge and desire and feel, by all means, swing yourself from the chandeliers and have fun. I'm just talking about how you present yourself and how we lie to ourselves. You know, if your titties are hanging down to your knees, if you bunch them up around your neck, don't get mad when that bra comes off and the man's like, what is that? You know, boom, 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 boom. You know what I mean? Don't lie. Be yourself. Just like the brother with the Viagra pills. It ain't you, man. How long can this last? And if you do last long because of that, and her mind is blown by what you did, and she's just on that level, well, will she be around for you when you're not up to par, when you're sick? And see, this is another thing, too. I'm going to start talking about it. Let me just say this thing about these men. These old-ass men, they run around the whole world, yeah. I can't find no wifey. Because you ran around, and all you're doing now, you're broke down, I'm not even broke, but you're broke down. You're good for nothing. Viagra don't work. You got health issues. You can't take care of yourself, but you want to use your little player ways to get somebody to take care of you. But you're going to be insecure when you find this young girl. Maybe it's an older woman. Maybe you can get over her like that. I don't know. But you look for somebody a little younger sometime, thinking, well, I'm 50-something and she's about 30, and you'll be so insecure if you think about that. Because now you'll sit broke down behind, you'll be wondering, if I ain't giving it to her, who is? Who's making love to your old lady while you're home in the wheelchair? You can't get away. Do things right. Do things on the up and up. When it's your particular period to live a certain way and to save and to do and to build your home or buy your home, the best thing you can do, fellas, and the best thing that you can do, young ladies, is do what you got to do when you have your younger energy. A lot of times we don't know that. A lot of times we feel invincible. I know about that. I used to feel real invincible. You know what I mean? But you never figured it's going to end. And so you find yourself in your 50s and in your 60s with a 22-year-old mind. No knock on the 22-year-olds out here, because we have many of them out here who are really mature and do what they have to do, right? But there's just so many people who realize, like, whoa, and they can't accept it, and they refuse it, and they get angry. I'm angry that I haven't found someone to marry me. I'm angry that I don't have this beautiful home and someone to share with. I'm angry. But it's not for everybody to have everything. It's not. So if you end up not being married to somebody, don't grab any old fool to say you're married, like so many people do, men, male and female. I'm not saying that. That is not promised to you. Do the best you can for yourself. all through your life. Make the best decisions and don't base it on the superficial things that society puts on you. We have younger, beautiful sisters who may not have this Instagram model fake shape. And you got pressure on you now. And you actually have a sense, I'm not saying everyone, I'm just throwing some things out here. So please don't jump on me. I can't really see the chat on that. I know I see different names out there. But you're under pressure to look like these Instagram models and you feel bad about yourself because you don't. You may have a man who's messing with you. I can't say dating because you ain't supposed to be effing when you're dating. Like I said, dating, courting, engagement, and marriage. By the time we skip over that. Oh, this is Rollo right here. I met him at the club last week. We get married on Monday. You done jumped over courting, dating, courting, engagement, and marriage, and now you're a disaster. It's better not be with anybody at all. A lot of us feel so, there's enough pressure in society on the women. Well, what's wrong with you? You ain't married yet. It may not be time. You may not be ready. Lots of times we leapfrog from one relationship to the other and realize we old now and nobody wants us behind. We done passed the men too now. This ain't just women. Men pass themselves around so many women. And I know for a time in my life, I was guilty of that too. So I'm not sitting here holding them down. I'm just maybe a little blessed at this point. Because really and truly, I probably, if it was on my own terms for what I've done in life, I don't deserve it. But in a way, I do deserve it. See what I mean? Like going down a list of whatever. Damn, Lance, how you end up like that? They were close friends of mine laying beds when I was in my 20s. It's like Lance laying around with so many different women. He ain't gonna make 30. How much you want to bet? He ain't gonna live past 30. But see, I'm only saying this because so many then thought that all this trajectory of having a house and your car and your wife and this wonderful life, that's guaranteed. To the younger folks who are listening to this, it's not guaranteed. It's not guaranteed. So don't do it to yourself to make it something that's even harder to do if that's what you want. Not everybody want to be married. Not everybody wants a mansion. Some people would just chill the way they are and leave them alone. Stop trying to put the template of the life that you want, that you might not ever get, on them. Leave them alone. They may not want that. Right now, I mean, when I was younger, I was never a materialistic type of person. I had luxury cars, I had trucks, vans, I had subcompact cars. I can't even tell you how many cars I owned in this lifetime. So right now it doesn't even bother me because there's no prestige attached to that. We're going to be in this Lexus right now, and I'll be driving it down the street and drive slow past all of my enemies and make them hate me. No. Like I said, my dick is not in that stuff. That is not my phallic symbol. My phallic symbol is creativity, connecting with others, having meaningful exchanges, being around people who care for me. I care for them. See? There are people that I know online through the online experience. I'm so close to them, never looked them in the face. See their face? That don't matter. It's still quality. Because how many people do we know face to face and you have no real connection? And that's the thing, that when we spend time pursuing that with those types of people, getting older ain't easy. Because we make it that way. Because we're pursuing the wrong things. But back to the women. Stop pressuring yourself to look a certain way. If a man wants you just based on the way that you look, as far as your backside and your titties and your little waist and them sexy legs, and that's it, and that's all he's coming around you for, or he's trying to fool you and trick you. You got a lot of guys out here that don't mind being in the friend zone because they're going to hang around and hang around and hang around. And what they really want is that thing between your legs and the lips on your face. See? But nobody's going to tell you that. See? And fellas, stop doing that to these women, man. Trying to be a friend when you know there's something that you want from them. And then you turn around and get mad when she invites you to her wedding. What? Man, we used to hang out all the time, and I spent all this money on her, and she ran with another dude. Well, you need to make it known that this is the reason why you're around her, not for sex, but you're interested in her. See, you set yourself up. You tried to be slick. It don't work that way, buddy. And like I said, we do have a lot of simps out here. Hey, the word is there for a reason. I don't call anybody that. There have been people who called me that. I'm not simp material. See, back in the day, if I was interested in somebody, I'm saying, listen, I'm interested in you. I may not say it that way. I may not be aggressive that way, but you let them know that. If they're not, then move on. You can still be friendly, but I'm not going to hang around you all day and be the shoulder you cry on. I'm interested in more. I don't mean just sex, but more. And a lot of these weak men do that to themselves. So don't come crying to me. You did it to yourself. Stand up and speak your mind. And ladies, those guys who speak their mind oftentimes are your best friends because you know where they're coming from. Even if you meet them at the club and they want to go home with you that night, that's up to you. But they let you know. They're not going to tell you they love you to get you in the bed. Right? And ladies, stop acting like you're prompting sex through your actions only to get love. Love is not a word that makes a person run if they're the type that want to get into it that way. There are a lot of men out here who want love and relationships. Then why don't you say that? You don't have to have titties hanging out to get his attention because he's interested in you anyway. And oftentimes, if you show all that like that, he's going to think you're a different type of woman. Trust me, men got radar. They know what you got. You can put a burlap sack for you. You can put, you know what I mean? They'll see what you got. If they're interested and really interested in that level. And these are things, like I say, we piddle away our younger years with this societal foolishness of trying to live up to what society says. You know, I have to have muscles and I have to be so. Look, how many times, ladies, have you turned down or looked over that plain looking man who he wasn't 6'2", he didn't have a 6-pack, he didn't have a luxury car, he didn't have all the women around him, he wasn't all that handsome, but he was the equivalent of a plain Jane, a woman. It was a plain job, but the brother worked a job. He saved his money and invested it. He lived what many would say is a nondescript life because he wasn't any flashy type of guy. He lived frugally, but he took care of himself. And after so many years now, when you stuck with so many kids from being lied to, and that's not the situation with all of our sisters. I'm talking about the ones who just ran out to the club and just laid up with this and laid up with that, with this, whatever, and realized at a certain age that, damn, I want a good guy. I want a hard-working guy who can sacrifice and keep his dick in his pants. That guy that you overlooked while you were going to the club with the Playboy dude that was driving a luxury car, that's the one you should have been building with. And I see too many examples of that. And lots of times, even some of these, it doesn't matter how many kids you have. Like, again, I say everybody's situation is different. I'm talking them arrogant ones. I tried to talk to somebody about that who was in one of my circles, who was a teenager at the time. And I saw the direction. With the permission of the parents, I tried to talk to her. I said, listen, I already know what's going on. I see it more than your parents do. You got to stop this. This is going to come back and tap you on the shoulder in a very bad way when you get older, when you realize certain things. I don't know what you think I'm doing. So you better go on with that. That's mind your business. I don't know where you came from. I'm like, listen, I'm coming to you out of love and respect because I see the road you're going down. Now you can't even speak to me. There's shame. Shame because of the street way they were going on. And I mean, one time I was driving down the street and I saw this young lady being fed into the back of a Honda Accord. Two guys were pushing her in and she's giggling, they were giggling. There's a bunch of guys in the car. Took off. I used to drive the bus and hear what they do in the bed. So I know said, listen, this is not good, not in this day and age. And so now the cover-up begins where you have the stimulus check money, you have the Section 8 money, you have the WIC money, you have the SNAP money. Remember that song, SNAP? I got the power. Well, what happens when it disappears? Not to say that anything is guaranteed, but every man wants to, even if you did have children before, who are you now? See, and who have you been? Because we don't know. Like I said, I knew of a woman who had a very affluent lifestyle. The husband was this kind of guy who, no, you're not supposed to do anything. I'm supposed to do everything. And she didn't know how to handle affairs in the business. She didn't know how to deal. She just raised the kids. Eventually, she ended up homeless. Her family went in to help her after he died. And they were taking money and getting over on her because they really didn't like it, how she was living. Bottom line is that whatever you do now is going to haunt you righteously in the future or terrorize you, even when you're older. What I eat now at a month away from 60 years old is going to be what I see and have to deal with when I'm 80 in 20 years. So why not do now and invest in now for your future? It's just that with men and women, they get in their 50s and 60s. It doesn't mean that it's all over, but do what you got to do the right way, and the right energy will come to you, and things will happen to you fast when you have that right energy. You don't have to look for anything, man or as a woman. If you don't adhere to the divine laws and that inner voice that you have, I'm not talking churchified stuff, I'm not talking some universal cult or whatever, that inner voice, we all have it. It guides us. But what we hear in the music and see on videos, that pulls us even more because it's flashier, instant gratification. And we ignore that. And we end up most often in a sorry state of affairs because time will trick you. Time goes slow in the beginning. It takes its time. It feels like forever. And the older you get, it moves fast. And you're like, wait a second. You start to look back on your life and you realize there's more behind it in the head. What was I doing? How can I change? And you feel as though there's a lot of older women and men that are very resentful because their life didn't just turn out the way they wanted to while they were doing their dirt. Like, oh, you put a few years on, I'm going to just drop this out of the... You have to have a plan, you have to have discipline, and you have to know how you want to live to end up that way. What is it that you like? What is it that you want to do? Like I said, our old neighbor who is down the street living in an apartment, very good job, very disciplined woman, very disciplined, very decent. She drove us over not too far, about 2 miles away where she's building her home. And I can see, man, it's going to be a beautiful place. I didn't want to put it on camera because that's not, I wouldn't even ask her to do that. But it was fabulous. Wow. It was open. It was just cinder blocks and you walk. Some people would say, oh, look at that. That doesn't look like anything. But as it comes together and you realize what's happening, it's like, wow, because you thought about that. But that's just the house. What about our lives and how do we feel about each other? Because many times as we get older, we can't face ourselves. We come up with a substitute life to others that don't know us that we've been living. Doesn't mean you have to tell everybody that all the dirt you've been through, but we have to fabricate something like these pastors and preachers fabricate the life of one of its members that's now newly deceased, who owed half the congregation money, who hold around, not old around, hold around, but he owed around, hold around, right? And now he's got to say how he was a man who loved his sisters and brothers and depended on them. For what? To give him money, right? So you hold around. He was always one to enjoy the embrace of the female population. You got to make it seem right. Some lives you can't turn around. I'll tell you how I was living. I ain't gonna lie. Just go all down and watch these videotapes. I ain't got no shame. I'm still doing it now. It's a problem. If you haven't made any gain, to be able to slow down a little bit, and it's not about slowing down. Because if I told you I lived a fast life, you would take it the wrong way because you live a fast life. Like I'm hanging out all night and getting drunk and getting drugs and screwing these women and living just recklessly. But in a way, I'm afforded because of my foundation that I began to build. It was like I was building it way back then. I was wild. But I said, I see the end of this. I remember being in the gym, 19 years old, competing, and I turned 20. And the guys that I was going to have to compete against now, they're in their 20s, 30s, 40s. All this training and all these steroids they were taking. Not only that, because I wasn't going to take any steroids, so I knew that, well, I'm not going to be competing against big guys, even though I look good onto myself. But I saw how many of them lived with women. And the women were working really hard. And these men weren't doing anything at all because it was all about their bodybuilding career. And back then, I'm like, wait a second. You're going to live an imbalanced life just for a $50 trophy? And just to be told that, you beat these guys because you were judged to be the best physique? And next year, there'll be somebody else, and next year, and you'll be forgotten? You're not going to be a household name for this stuff. And you're living in balance, depending on a woman, using her. How long does that run last before, it's ended? And a lot of these guys I know now on the street, that you can pull up the old magazines from back in the day like they were something big. If you don't know, whoa, you're in front of a magazine? Wow, the next great so-and-so. But now you're in the curb, shitting on yourself, pissing on yourself. And when you're awake, you look at liquor and more of a handout. Decades since you had a place of your own. I know people like this. I won't put their names out there. And it hurts me because a lot of these guys, when I was around them, they gave me the physical wisdom of bodybuilding. They knew it all, but they couldn't shake a stick in life. And I do know some who were successful in life. I won't call their names, but I know you're watching this. And I look up to you, big brother. This is what I call my big brother. That's right. Just say Sly. That way you know who it is. Right? Brother Sly. I look up to you because you're always man, even all through that. And he competed up until about maybe 10 years ago. And he's a year or two older than me. You know what I mean? So he did right and living a very, very good life, a good balanced life. There were guys who saw how I was hoeing around in a dignified way, not as a predator. And like I said, they predicted my death. I wouldn't live past 30. And they had noses up in the air because of the jobs that they had. And some of them are not even doing well right now, to the point where they can't even call me up. I call them, they don't answer the phone, but I can see my metrics. They're peaking. You never know how life is going to end up. And to get older is a blessing, because you got to think about how many times you got in that phone call about one of your friends or colleagues or associates that they're gone now. And if you're still here, you need to readjust your thinking. If you think your life is a failure, if you're frustrated because what you didn't get, we shouldn't be entitled. This is a gift. And with this gift, you should be working that gift to bring a better life. Getting older isn't easy when you have to face bad decisions that you made and bad choices that you made, because you got to face the consequences of our decisions. Lots of times I've had to face consequences for years for my decisions. Pains in your heart. Not where you're going to have a heart attack, but the emotional side. Man, if I didn't even meet this woman, my life would be so much better. I wouldn't have had to go through that heartache and that pain. I know the emotional pain But my God, don't do it to yourself. Don't do it to yourself. Especially when you're younger, you can make a choice. But the older folks, don't be mad at the younger folks either. If they got a cleaner slate, don't bring your toxicity of your frustration of making bad decisions and feeling entitled. Those who do, this is not everybody who's older. Because I'm laughing all day. I'm jolly. I'm looking forward to another day. I'm joking and laughing all day. That's what keeps me young. Living my life like it's golden. Living my life like it's golden. Living my life. Before I put we started the stream and I was playing music and I was making these little graphics and stuff like that. I was singing songs and playing some old songs. I remember this song when I was 12 years old by a group called Graham Central Station. Not Grand Central Station, but Graham, like graham crackers. The name of the song was Your Love. And it reminded me of going around my father. He used to collect the rent in this brownstone, 136th Street, that his cousin, my second cousin, I guess that's what you call it, right? First, I don't know. But she lived in Brooklyn on Crown Street, where all the Jews lived. He used to go over there and pick up the rent, and that song always used to be playing. So when I heard it, so actually saw it, I clicked, and I was a 12-year-old boy again. That's good. You can think back on the good memories. When you start thinking back, because I've had people just hang out with them, like you just met them really kind of cool, you're hanging out, and you're talking about your life, and they will go on for hours. Yeah, well, back in 1975, is what happened. And back in 1981, yeah, he used me. And back in 1986, yeah, I thought it was. I gotta wait until you get into 2023, and everything's a sob story. Have you seen no good in your life? Or you thought because you was a pretty young thing that you just get what you get, you're scheming. Some of the ones who are like that, those who are like that, you got a rude awakening if you don't change. Or you'll be that old woman over there sitting here and mad at the ones who are younger, who have a cleaner slate. Both men and women are the same way. Ridiculous. And I'll take no part of it. I love my life. There have been some uncomfortable times. There were some situations that it seemed like I couldn't get out of. And how would the church folks say, well, the dear Lord reached his hand down and pulled me out of that one. Because if you knew some of the situations, I haven't told y'all everything. I'm saving some things for the book. You'd be like, damn, Lance, you blessed. Must be. I'm not taking that for granted because my work on this level is not done. There's something else I'm supposed to do, even if it's for 5 seconds in my existence. That may have nothing to do with this YouTube stuff or nothing to do with the artwork or writing, whatever it is that I do, that I'm here to do, and all of this is to hone me and get me ready. As long as you know that your life has a purpose, and yeah, you have a past, and it may not be something so pristine, but as long as you know you have a purpose in this life, it will never allow you to get old. I'm not old. I ain't never gonna be old. I'll be older. I'll be a chronological age, but in my spirit and in my heart, I'm not gonna get old. I'm not in denial. Can I make it 40 more years? Sure I can, unless there's another plan for me on another level. Can I make it to 100? I think I can. I don't worry about it. I don't care. Because if I can do the work that I'm supposed to do from now to 100 in the next year, if my time, fine. But don't take me unless I did my purpose. Like I said, every tool in the toolbox is not always used. But when it's needed, it's the most important tool in the toolbox because you're looking for it. Because what you're looking for, the hammer can't do. What you're looking for, the screwdriver can't do. What you're looking for, the level can't do. You're special. And this is why you don't need to piddle away your life with foolish situations. So you can end up that bitter person now that has to manufacture some life. And every year they think about. And that's why some of these older folks are resentful towards you as somebody younger. They're resentful. Because see, they want to discourage you. And say, for example, you're 25. Let's just make up a number. Or 22. And they're 62. And they will throw off on you, listen, we don't know what if you're 22, we don't know what your chapter of 23 is, of 24 is, of 25 is. but they know. They know, and it's limited, and it's done, and it's. We know what that chapter is. We know what you're 62 years old, 30, 35, 36, 37, 38, 38. We know. Give them a chance to write their chapters. Instead of discouraging them and being jealous on them because they have a clean slate, share what not to do or encourage them to go a certain way. But I remember that I told this before, and I don't think you remember this. I always talk about a whole lot of things. But I remember I was walking, this is 109th Avenue, right off of Guy Brewer Boulevard. I was coming from the other side of the Van Wyck Expressway. A girlfriend of mine had an apartment over there on 109th and Merrick. And, you know, that time, 1983, we were going over there. And so I was holding her hand. And we walking, we're gonna get something to eat, we're gonna chill, do a little calisthenics, hang out all night, fall asleep, wake up, and repeat the process. This was a weekend. So we walking, holding hands. This is the 1983 SCURV. That's like 40 years ago, right? And so there was a lady, an older woman sitting on the steps or the porch. There was a front porch on a corner lot. It was like a block or two in. I remember on this side. I'll never forget it. I'm gonna even do a Google map and find out. Just to say it was right there, this house right here. I know she's gone because she was much older, like in her late 60s, and she didn't look too good for age. But, you know, that was ahead of her age. So she's, oh, look at you two. As we were approaching, we were walking slow too. She's up there looking like an old happy church lady. Look at you. And I'm gonna use profanity also. Don't, you know, I try not to. Right? I'm paraphrasing her. Let me channel her energy now, right? She had this wig on to the side, right? And she was sitting there. It wasn't a rocking chair, but she was rocking. She's up on the porch. And we're walking down the street. So she sees us and she's saying, oh, look at you too. Aren't you lovely? You look so nice together. I can see you both being, we were walking out smiling, you know, I can see you both being together for a long time. Yes, you both can't be any more than 20 or 21. And you got your life ahead of you. And you know what? He's going to give you lots of children. And you're going to have a nice big house, cars and everything. Until he fucks it up. Until he fucks it up and cheats on you and leaves you. And then with that, I was like, right? What's with that lady? And I thought about it. And she was resentful at the potential that we had, which we weren't really thinking about all that at that time. But she saw, and it triggered her off into a time in her life when she thought that. She was holding hands with somebody and all in. And now she's projecting that on us because we have the potential or had the potential to have that. You never know what people have in their heart. You never know what they're thinking. They can act like they're wishing you well, and they're not. Resenting you because you remind them of what they could have had, but maybe they messed up, or maybe they lost out on it, maybe they didn't see the red flags. Who knows? You just don't know. This is why many people say, well, you go and buy a house, you don't tell nobody. You're going to go and get married, or you can't tell everybody that you're with this person. So when are we going to meet the lucky person? Oh, with me, bring them around soon. Because I'm going to throw that spirit off on them. And I don't look at always the negative stuff, but I had so many things thrown at me, boom, boom, out of nowhere. It's like you a fighter and you go to the corner, you had a rough round, you go to your corner, get the water poured on you, and you get destruction in your end. They take the bar, not the bar stool, but the stool you're sitting on, they don't let you sit, they come and bust you in the head with it. Like, you're supposed to be on my side. What's up with that? So many of us, instead of getting older with grace, and getting older, like many who you see, who have pleasant spirits, who may have gone through a lot but overcome it and understand how precious the present day is, they don't get the clogged filter syndrome like many of these old evil ass people do. We know that lady who walks down the block, that we don't know who she is really. She might live 2 blocks down. She might be in your building and you see her now and then. She might be in her late 80s or middle 80s. She has a perpetual smile on her face. Good morning, how are you? And you peek out the window and you see her by yourself and she got that pleasant look on her face. Because that's how she's turned her life around, or she sees the world. There's a lot of things that get me angry. There's a lot of things that piss me off. There's a lot of fake ass people that I run away from. Me. I don't run away from them. I run them away from me. Because you ain't going to bring that stuff and start lightly sprinkling your dirt in my life. Stay over there with it. I'm like Donald Trump. Build the wall. Because I already see what you have planned and what's in you. Because I want to keep the smile on my face. I want to be that old man who, every time I see him, he's telling a joke. Every time I see him, he always has time to talk to me. Every time I see him when he leaves, I feel better. I want to be that guy. I don't want to be that guy to talk your ears off when you don't want to talk. If you want to come around, I got some talk for you. And I can look back on my life and make fun of the things that I've been in the potential situations that may have been bad and how I slipped away from it. I know how to look at it light. I'm not going to get mad. There's a lot of things that I could have done, a lot of things that were done to me, but I'm not going to keep that toxicity inside. So therefore, getting older for me will not be hard. I'm like a kid. Every time I wake up in the morning, I have so much enthusiasm, so much joy in my heart. I see what's going on in the world. I get on the show sometimes and I'm angry, but it's a righteous anger. It's nothing that's sticking to me. There are people who are older, who they are straight evil, some. But they can charm you because you grant them that the older people chip, like, oh, they're older and nice and whatever. And some of them have so much of a clogged filter where they cannot operate within themselves anymore to even enjoy a day. Everything is a negative thing because of what they've been through, and lots of times the cause of it. And if you weren't, I can talk with you. But when you have this resentment in you because you didn't attain something or get something because of you running with the wrong people, or you making some dumbass decisions, then that's on you. Or you made decisions based on somebody else trying to keep up with somebody else. I ain't trying to keep up with nobody. I do me. I do me. I'm here because I want to be here. I do it because I want to and I like it. I do what I like. Right now, what time is it? 9:58. If I want to go and take a walk at 3 o'clock in the morning, 2 o'clock in the morning, I'm going to do it. I'm free. I'm not haunted by my past. And then many people try to bring up things in the past around you that will aid you because they want you to kind of lurk in that time, to kind of keep you immersed in that time and sit back and get you upset over old things that happened because they're old and dried up. I'm not doing it. Oh, I know, I'll talk. How do you feel about this? What happened back in 83 when that girl was trying to say you got her pregnant and it wasn't true? And I said, well, it wasn't true. And if it was, I'd take care of it. Didn't happen. You know? That's just the way it is. We all are dealt a different deck in this life. We all make decisions with the cards that we have to say, okay, I'm going to play this card. I'm going to play that card. No matter how much you think you're going to win because you played the cards a certain way, it may not be the right way. You got to face consequences. The resentments that we carry from the past with people that are dead and gone. Look, I'm not mad at you. If I cussed you out, told you to get away from me, to come on my property, and don't come around here no more, I'm free. Because now you got to be a fool to follow up on that and catch one of these, right? But I'm not going to sit here and want to say something, express something, and hold it in. then that means I'm going to age prematurely and die of emotional constipation. I'm not doing it. There's too much stuff to laugh at. I like them hard belly laughs. I like telling old stories. I love hearing your stories. I love vibing on that. Let's vibe, learn. Drink some nice cold juice, merengue, some apple juice in there, some pineapple juice in there, and some protein powder, vegan, and sip it and feel strong in the sun and laugh. That's what I want to do tomorrow. Tomorrow. For real. Why can't I gotta, back in 1995, he was a millionaire, and I thought I was getting married, but he had 2 other women. I don't want to hear that. Get away from me. That's a turnoff. Don't mean I'm getting with you, but you can be male or female. I'm around you, and you come all night long. All night long, all night. I can think of things that are bad that happened in my life. Why am I going to go in that? It's not even going to be a closet. I threw it out. I remember it. I'm not going over and over and over and over. Like a broken damn record. What is the unique thing that today brought? If there's nothing more, you're already dead. What is the unique thing that came into your life for that day? You say, man, I learned this today. Man, you know, I'm interested when I go on YouTube with the things, oceanography, the things under the sea. I'm interested in the findings of certain animals that they never knew before. Like in the Congo, they say they always find different animals, insects and animals. The Congo being so rich in nature that they find animals and different things that you've never seen before. Like I said, I was in the Volta region, and there was an insect that landed on my arm, a tiny insect. I swear, it was translucent. You could kind of see through it. It was greenish, and it looked like a human form. And the arms were long, and it had head, and it looked like it winked at me and flew away. I was like, "What the hell is that?" I don't get high. I saw it. Maybe that could be one of those things that they didn't know what it is. I see things going around here in Africa, even in the city here, which this is the industrial area. So that's why you see it's not so exciting when we do the walk and talks. Like there's a couple of houses back there, but this is that area where it could send dogs and materials and all of that. And from the super city part, it's creeping up where they're building. And 5 years from now, this will be like a little metropolis over here, and we'll be way up in the mountains, right? So I understand that. I've studied this place, and all cities and places grow in a similar manner. You're not going to have restaurants in downtown area, and all of a sudden, building materials, whatever. And usually around those areas, the building materials is the red light district. But here is a little different. Okay? But yeah, I just don't understand that way of thinking. I remember there was a good friend my mother had, and I'm gonna call her name. I think she passed in 2001, but I wasn't in contact with her because, again, my brother took that book where all the addresses are in. My mother transitioned in '93, and I Googled this woman. I said, what happened to her? And this woman was so powerful. Yes, she called herself a Christian, but if there's ever a Christian that was real, she's one of them. Just like the other one I told you about, Sister Foster, that block away from me. When you get around them, you're like, whoa, this is the real thing. And with them, to me, it wasn't Christianity that did it. It was a thing that they were spiritually connected. They, because of their upbringing in the South, it fell under the guise of that, but they found something else that wasn't about just Christianity. They found the real thing. You understand? So they may say things in a Christian vernacular, but it wasn't that. They were too powerful. And her name was Iola White, right? And she would always come around. The funny thing about it, I was young. I was always a comedian, right? My father used to crack up. My mother didn't get mad. She'd say, Lance, you're too crazy. Me and my father went up to pick her up at the subway station. She lived in Washington, D.C. And she was coming to New York for a certain reason. It wasn't just to be with us. with some other family she had. And so she went and brought the main bit of her luggage. She took a train up or something like that, over by the family who they drove. They had the big house and she was staying over there. But she's going to stay with us for a week. And so she brought a week's worth of things, but left most of the stuff over there. So it was 2 small suitcases. The thing is, she happened to be like 4'11" or something like that. And so my joke when I was a kid, you know, and this was a very powerful woman. The things she told me still resonate in my subconscious today. But me and a joker, maybe she was 4'10". But she wasn't like, she was as small as you can be without being a little person. Technically, I was going to say the midget word. I know a little people don't like that, right? So when I came back home, my father, we picked her up, and she was on a phone call in another part of the house. I said, Mommy, did Daddy tell you what happened when we picked up, you know, Iola? She said, no. He said, well, we went there, we were standing there, and we were looking for her, and we heard her call her name, and because both our names are Lance, right? Lance. And I said, I did like this. He said, Lance. I went, Lance. And I went, oh, there you go. And I looked down. My mother cracked up. Well, they no good right there. My father's like, oh, man. He couldn't. So every time when he would remind me of that joke, he looked this way, and oh, look down. Now here I am, just as, no, I was taller than her at that young age, but you know, like little things. And then eventually my mother told her, she said, Lance, she told me that, Lance, I'm gonna get you about that joke, right? So anyway, those are the good times that you have, and you feed on those things. And it's people that are so rich in different ways that feed into you, because that woman was a very, very powerful woman, and she wasn't letting go of what she knew to be the truth. And again, it wasn't just a Christian thing. It was a creative thing. And she spoke about Black people and what we've been through. And she was a heck of a speaker. And she would go around to different churches, and she was really a revolutionary. She was, right? And I love her, and wherever her essence is, I wish her the best, and I send positive energy to that, because she really made a difference in my life. And we weren't always around because she was in Washington, New York, we were all busy. Even though I went to visit her down there, you know. And I think it was like 73 when I was 10 years old, whatnot. But anyway, wonderful. Sister Foster, the other one. You know, these are people who, they got older, but they weren't resentful. Yeah, little things would happen. It's not fashionable to think, well, I'm going to have the nicest depends on if I can't hold myself, or, you know, I have to walk around with a walker. But we have to associate age with these things. Sometimes if we need it, we have younger people who have these things. We think, oh, old, it's bad, because the society throws us away and doesn't see our value. And many of our families throw away the ones who are older, who have all the wisdom, and we give it to them when they're so necessary. And some parents say, well, I don't want my kids taking care of me. I think that's the way it should go. Not when you're up in the business all the time. You're there as an advisor, but that's nature's pension plan. You shouldn't have to wait on the white man's Social Security. You should have done so well with your children that, oh, it's no problem. I don't want you to be too far. You shouldn't have to. And your grandchildren come and do little things and do your hair and do your yard and all this stuff like that. And you give them wisdom and order and backbone and keep them straightened up with all that you've learned. But there's so much wisdom in the nursing homes and assisted living facilities dying because they're not living their purpose. This is why when you have those who are grandmothers and fathers and great-great-grandmothers and fathers, when they are home and connected to the subsequent generations that come behind them, they live longer because they're connected. How are you going to chop an apple off the tree and sit it down on the ground and expect it to live? You can eat it if the ants don't chew it up. It's disconnected from the source. Because every day of your life, you should understand that you have a purpose. And wisdom doesn't have a shelf life where you must sell this wisdom or get rid of this wisdom by a certain time of your life, because it won't be any good anymore. The conversations that we should be having with elders keep them active and to understand that, wow, I gave them this bit of wisdom and they're using it and they're excelling with it. And it gives them a sense of value because they are valued. They should know that they are valued. So if you have to help them up, even if you have to wipe their backside, you got to comb their hair, you cherish them in the transition, knowing that every utterance out of their mouth is chock full of wisdom. And it's us who are the sinners who throw them away. We throw away the best part because whatever we're going through, they've been through it. But we want to go to the shrink. We want to go to the next girlfriend. We want to go to, oh, I'm going to it. They don't know. They might know a little something, but they don't know, you know, and again, if that older person lived properly. But how are you going to be in the 60s and 70s and worry about getting a piece of dick every night? You should be beyond that. And why, men, we got to be in our 60s and 70s and want to have this pretty young thing to show up the younger guys and being jealous of the younger guys on how much punani they're getting. You ain't going to stop it, but try to drop a little wisdom on them. It's just like my godmother. She wasn't a technical godmother. My mother called her that. We moved out to Queens. Miss Curry. And Miss Curry, my mother met in Queens a little bit right after we moved there. And I'm not going to say this to put her down, but she was a peculiar looking lady. But she was full of wisdom. When she was younger, they had to open up her head and do something with her brain. So her head was not really like severely deformed. And I'm not saying this as a put that, I'm painting a picture. You can see something was going on, and she had a short red afro. And she had these thick glasses. She couldn't really see too good, and that's something that affected her from when she was younger. She really wasn't supposed to live. She told a story. I remember bits and pieces of it. And she used to take these short steps because she couldn't see too far, even though she had these thick glasses. And she was always pleasant. If somebody said, hey, hi, love, how you doing? And she'd laugh. And somehow, some way, she connected with my mother. And so then she became my godmother, right? And she lived around the corner. She was a minimalist. She wasn't really into too much stuff. But her story and journey was different because this was the 70s, 73, 74, 73, even 72. I was 9, 10 years old. And she was wild. Wild. Because she'd come to a place to realize that because she went through what she went through physically, and I believe her parents abandoned both the parents. The father was gone and the mother was gone, left her somewhere. So she had some deep issues, especially since she wasn't anywhere near a beauty queen. Not to have to, but you know, in adolescence, you want to feel at least that, even if you're plain Jane, that you do put yourself together. She wasn't that way, but she was just different looking, with a loving soul. And I used to stop and listen to the stories and how she was doing drugs. She was trying to find herself. She was around white folks, some black folks made fun of her when she was younger. So she found herself around a lot, and then the whole sex thing, the orgies and different. My mother's like, what, for real? I didn't know about that world. But she was telling her, and I kind of, at a young age, you know, I got a hold of the magazine, so I knew what was up, and plus I had things that happened to me. I was like, wow. The whole flower hour era, the whole, what's the place there? All the white folks were smoking and drinking, and it's this particular place upstate New York. I keep forgetting it. She was all up in it. And she had gotten into the church, but she didn't back away from it, but it was kind of a modified spirituality. And she was always laughing. Everything was funny. And I'm like, and it wasn't fake, because she really enjoyed life. She says, I don't feel the way I used to feel about myself anymore. I know my beauty. I know, and really and truly, I know she's transitioned. it's been so long. And I'm going to share maybe some pictures when I find them. I have the old albums up at the house, packed away. And a lot of pictures, I'm going to scan them and shade them from my past. And I remember in 79, 78, I was training, but I didn't look like anything. I used to walk around like stiff and whatnot. And I remember we went to Rye Beach and we took some pictures and she was next to me. So I got to find those things and you'll see. I had these tube socks on. I thought I was the Incredible Hulk, right? But that wasn't the case. But you get these people in your life that influence you and let you know that it's okay to get older. Certain things may or may not work. It's okay. Take care of yourself to the best of your ability. Hopefully you did this when you were younger. You took care of yourself and you won't have as many issues. If you have issues, we're not going to be here forever. But our spirit goes on and our essence goes on. Soak up the good stuff. Don't worry about if you didn't make this and you didn't make that. Look at all the people who reach for something and may not have attained that goal, but they got something else in life that was just as valuable, if not more. Look, everybody can't be heavyweight champion of the world. Where all the boxers go that never won? All the Olympic gold medalists didn't get Olympic gold medalists. They tried for it. They didn't get it. They just jump off a bridge and die and give up. That's part of the experience. Enjoy the experience and learn from it and move on. And you'll find that your days getting older in the chronological years will be even sweeter because you won't have the cloud filters that many who are resentful have. I got so many stories for y'all. And they're still alive to me. Sometimes I'm in the place when I start laughing. Stuff is funny. Things come back to me. I gotta write them down now. People that know me from all those years may remind me of certain things. I'm like, man, I forgot about that. No, I can't forget about that one, man. Not only were they laughing at the story, they were right there when it happened. So our good friends and acquaintances keep us alive because they can reflect on us what we've been through, good, bad, and ugly. And we can relearn from that all the time. It's something, it's just a way to do it. You make a choice. So you're going to make a choice to be older and resentful. Look, again, we can all find reasons to be negative and resentful. Let's pick up. Look, when you were a kid, you see that big box of chocolates and your mother, father, whoever raised you wasn't around, you opened it like, oh, that would look nasty. Let me pick this one. You bite it. And some of us bite it and put it back and cover it up. Put back the negative stuff. Keep the ones you like and move on. And always have something in the present day that you can have that will keep you going on and happy. I'm telling you this from experience because there's not too many people who have been through emotionally what I've been through. That's my word. I haven't done everything. I've been hurt, backstabbed, thrown in the bus, all that stuff. It's not even several times, countless times. We all have. I was never homeless. Maybe I was one night away from being that. It was never that. It was never where. There's times I had no money at all. Bad things happen. I'm in the hospital. You don't know you ain't working. She about to die. You know what I mean? Like things like that, emotional things. I'm here. So instead of looking toward the future and thinking, even in this world with the threat of war, the threat of homelessness and the folks on drugs and people losing their jobs and no food, you got to think about all that you've been through before and realize that, you know what, you survived that. But the time that you were going through it, it seemed impossible. It seemed like you'll never get over it. And once you're done, kind of we forget. So we're very durable and we're made to face things and overcome and surmount the challenge easier and easier and easier. And once you get this thing down, you'll find yourself that little old man or little old lady with that perpetual smile on their face because they know they broke through to a better time in their life. Even if they can't run as fast as they used to, they can't jump as high as they used to. The men can't perform as long and as frequent as they used to. You don't care about those things when you get to a certain point. You can realize that you don't need your ego tied up in flesh that will fail. But if you're tied up in the principles that never die, you'll always be hip. because you'll always have something that somebody's interested in, even if it's just in a time of need. The worst thing is to have a bunch of young guys who are in that phase in 19, 20, and I know some 19, 20 years old that have a lot of sense. Let's just say they're on the corner, they're drinking, they're 40, but they're on that level. Some of them are going to die, some of them are going to go on and do good things, some of them are going to be locked up. You know how that goes. The worst thing is to have a 60-year-old man try to get up with, yeah, man, I was tearing it up too like that back in 1979. Yeah, man. And they may laugh a little bit, but like, who's that old fool? Doesn't mean you're going to say you should not talk like that. No, you chuckle and you go on by. You might laugh at one of the jokes or something like, man, you funny, man. Yeah, Pops, I know you was doing this. Let them say it. You know, let them say it. But you don't have to revel in that. Yeah, I had my day. You ain't got to get no detail with them because they ain't going to respect you. That's all you're talking about. It doesn't mean you have to isolate yourself. Man, y'all are crazy. Get out of here, man. Come on, Pops, tell us, right? You know, there's some little things happening, man, but y'all crazy. Just deflect it. When you try to prove to them on that level, how does this guy live his whole life? And that's all he can talk about. I get mad respect in the streets of Orlando. I used to drive the bus and worked in the gym. Man, respect. You see in the comment section, so many people still write me as, man, I remember, whatever. It speaks for itself. Sometimes you have to talk the talk and have that lower common denominator and bring up to a higher common denominator so they can learn. You don't have a purpose in this life. And the minute you think you don't have a purpose anymore, you're old. You're dead. If you think you have a purpose or don't have a purpose, then you have no purpose. You've disengaged yourself from understanding that our roles will shift and change. The best fighter in the world, who was trained by somebody who was good, he gets older. If he keeps wanting to be just a fighter, you find out, you know what happens. He's punchy, he stayed too long. But now with his wisdom, if he gets out in transition, he can still stay in that as a trainer and impart everything that he knew to that young fighter. Not only that, but in life. Okay, when you get that money from fighting, you need to invest it in this, this, and that. Set yourself up when you're older. So it goes beyond just that one thing. That's why we need our older people to be right in the head. We don't need our older grandmas worried about if they're going to get torn up the night before or whatever. We don't need the grandfathers out here thinking like a young boy. They can laugh and talk amongst themselves who are in that age and say, remember when. But it's inappropriate for you to go to some younger guy and try to convince him that you can outdo him in the bedroom. That's low talk. That's low talk. It shouldn't be that way. But let's keep our value going to wrap this down. I got some things to do. And I might come back later on if I feel like it for a little while. I don't know. I'm going to start sneaking 2 live streams in on you, but this one will always be. Mrs. Scurv, just go to the mic and say hi one time right there. You're not on the camera. Go ahead. Just go ahead right there. Say hi. Bless the stream with your voice. Right there. Bless the stream with your voice. Tilt the camera up. Let me see if I can hear you.
Hello, good evening, greetings, brothers and sisters. How y'all doing tonight?
I'm good. Let's see if I can convince her 5 minutes, 15 minutes, and a whole hour. No, she just passed by. She's in ultra relaxed mode, and that's the perfect word for me to get ready to go. I got some things to do. This week we'll continue with multiple things, and I'll start doing some rooftops and some other stuff and whatnot. And everybody who's in the chat room that's a little too far for me, I love you all. I thank you for being here, and it's always a pleasure. It's always a pleasure. So anyway, let me run. Sorry for the abrupt end. We've been here for what, an hour and 24 minutes. Not bad. We'll sneak a 4-hour one in there sometime, you know. Anyway, much love to you all. Take care, and we will boogie tomorrow. I got some more stuff for you tonight. Peace.
Take it away, feeling too good to me. Chilling all day, all in your space is where I wanna be. Here in this room, what did you do? I just can't get enough. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. Yeah, you always make me feel like home. Yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you. All that I crave when you're away, nights are sleepless. Do we need space? Yeah, maybe you're brave, boy, you're my weakness. Give and we take, the love that we make, it's my favorite drug. Too caught up in your love. I've been trying to forget, but you won't let me. Something in my brain wants you. I've been hanging by myself, asking for help, but nothing seems to work on you. Yeah, you always make me feel like home. Yeah, you never leave my thoughts alone. Yeah, you're the reason I'm going out my mind. I just can't stop thinking about you. You got me feeling some type of way. You make me wanna stay in all day. You're the reason I can't get out my head. I just can't stop thinking about you. 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 I just can't stop thinking about you.
Bye.